Student activism at Northwestern University. Similar to many undergraduate campuses across the United States, Northwestern University has had multiple student protests, some contemporary, but most are concentrated in the 1960s and early 1970s. Subjects of protests include anti-war sentiments, Black student relations, and more. Historical key events: student power marches and student-faculty anti-war protests. Dow Chemical Company demonstration. In early February 1968, students heard news of the Dow Chemical Company, the producer of the chemical weapon on napalm, recruiting on campus and began protesting. Starting at 60 and growing to 500 strong, the peaceful student demonstration on February 14, 1968 articulated anti-war sentiment. A statement about the university's recruiting processes was released by the Director of Placement the day before the demonstration on February 13, 1968. It stated that it is the policy of Northwestern University to help its students find employment. To that end, placement services are provided. Student groups have asked, should the Dow Chemical Company be permitted to recruit at Northwestern? My answer, in accordance with the policy I have stated, is yes. While the university ultimately did not change its decision to allow Dow on campus, Dean Roland J. Hintz showed his support and concern for the cause, saying that it was a cracking good demonstration, and it may have an effect on university policy. Black student sit-ins APRA Act, 1968. In May 1968, Northwestern's Black students organized a sit-in of the university bursar's office to advocate for better race relations on campus. They hoped to persuade the administration to concede to their demands for increased admissions and financial aid for Black students. In organizing the Black Student Sit-in of May 1968, students occupying the university bursar's office wanted the university to improve race relations on campus by persuading the administration to concede to their formal demands. Included in these demands were increased admissions and financial aid for Black students, creation of medical school sit-in. Northwestern medical students conducted a sit-in against compulsory draft of medical school students to the Army in May 1970. The sit-in protested medical troop participants being drafted as combat soldiers as part of national service and called to attention disparity of socioeconomic status and Black populations in the medical student community. Protests on Vietnam. Students and faculty of Northwestern held demonstrations against American involvement in the Vietnamese War. The demonstrations took place from 1969 to 1973, raising tension between intervention supporters and strong opposers in the student and faculty populations. The administration was confronted with accounting for the free expression of all perspectives and maintaining a neutral stance in lieu of controversy. Contemporary student activism. Black House protests. During the summer of 2015, Northwestern's Black community received an email summarizing the university's intentions to integrate the Black House with multicultural student affairs. The email immediately sparked activism from both Black alumni and current students alike. Many felt that the lack of inclusion of the Black community on the decision was an infringement of the 1968 agreement to improve the Black student experience from which the Black House was born. The university intended to move staff into the top floor of the house, and students responded asking to be involved in the decisions regarding changes to the space central to their experience. Listening sessions ensued, and according to Northwestern's Black Alumni Association, the community is now advocating the modernization of the space to make it not only a meeting space and resource center, but also the home of Northwestern's Black student archives. NU divest? Athlete unionization. In the winter of 2014, Kane Coulter, then two-year starting quarterback for the Northwestern University football team, held a meeting with head coach Pat Fitzgerald to express concerns about how the INCA rules and regulations put college athletes at a disadvantage in life. He spoke to Fitz about his concerns for healthcare after college athletes were done playing their sport and also for athletes being unfairly exploited. He partnered with Ramogi Huma, who played linebacker for UCLA in the late 1990s, to bring his case to the National Labor Relations Board. Using ideas that he got from the National College Players Association, which started as the Collegiate Athletes Coalition created by Huma in 1996, Coulter came up with the College Athletes Players Association, which very closely resembled the National Football League Players Association and the National Basketball Association Players Association. When Huma reached out to Coulter on the phone, the first thing Coulter told him was that he wanted to unionize Northwestern's football team. Although Coulter's main concern was with long-term healthcare provisions for players, after talking with fellow athletes around the country, other issues were brought to his attention, such as the athlete's stipend not being adequate enough to cover the total cost of attending college as an athlete, not having enough money to buy food, and not having scholarships that ensure 4 years of eligibility. With all these things in mind, Coulter partnered with Huma and Tim Waters, who headed the movement for the unionization of steelworkers, to create APU, or All Players United.